Hello and welcome back. Today we're gonna hack Bashed from Hack the Box. Couple of interesting things. Now, we'll be using BusyBox that will make things easier for us, just like we've seen for the cap machine, but it'll make things much easier than what you'd see on write-ups, for example. Well, of course, this is available exclusively on my channel because, that's me. We'll see an interesting web shell that leads to a remote command execution, which will be very interesting. And we'll also see some interesting specific Linux machine. Now, I want to remind you to get back on Twitch, to follow me on Twitch, because I'm trying to become very fluent and very fast when I'm speaking in English. So I'll be playing the whole goddamn Mass Effect trilogy throughout the months of January through March, I think. So hop on the stream. Now, in this video, in this stream, I'll also show you that once you get to know the right Linux commands and the relative options, once you learn how to use them well, hacking machines, hacking boxes becomes very easy, because Linux is very important. All of the tools in ethical hacking are based on Linux, so very important. Let's do this. Log into your Hack the Box account, click on Spawn Machine, wait for 3 to 4,000 years, then press Ctrl Alt F1 so that you get to a teletype, shell, move to the directory where your OVPN file is, and then type in sudo open VPN and then the file name. Ctrl left, Ctrl Alt F7, then Ctrl Alt T to open up a terminal. If config, are we in the VPN network? Of course we are. It's 10.10.15.79, and the IP is instead 10. We don't care what it is, just copy that. And we'll do an initial nmap scan with T5. We don't care. And then Ctrl Shift V, so that we'll get all of the open. We'll see what parts are actually open, and then once we know what those are, we'll do a banner grab for all of the found services. This way it's more efficient, it's cleaner, it's faster. But I noticed that when I'm on stream, scans are much slower, so now I'll just past my balls, I guess. ISP's connections, the bandwidth isn't that great in Italy. In fact, I wanted to buy 2 of those and put them in SD-WAN through aggregation, which means you could have 2 ISPs. I don't know where you are in the world. There are people from all around the world that follow my channel, so this might be interesting. Yeah. If you have 2 ISP connections, like for example a Starlink one and a landline one, or even fiber, if you're lucky enough to get fiber, you can get 2 lines and put them in failover or load balance them, or in aggregation mode, which is also called bonding, so that you will aggregate the speeds of the 2 connections. But you will need necessarily a firewall to do that with 2 WAN1 inputs. Failover means if one of the 2 fails, it fails over to the other one, of course. Aggregation, it aggregates them. And what was the other one? It's not aggregation, lower. Oh, load balancing. You define at which point it should use which one, and even more importantly, you can decide to dedicate a certain portion of the bandwidth to, I don't know, for example, Twitch live streams or YouTube video uploads. That's very cool. And you'll also learn how to, work as a cybersecurity analyst or system administrator in your own home. The problem is that firewalls cost a lot. FortiGate 60 series, they're very cool, but they cost about, I don't know, $500. But very cool. One of the next purchases, certainly. Because I don't live in Tokyo, unfortunately. I live in Frosinone, in Italy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and also follow me on Twitch so that you'll be notified whenever I'll be going live. Now let me see if among the viewers there are some bots that are scraping the chats so that I'll fucking ban them. No, it's just my bots. My bots can stay. There you go. We did it. So now we can do a sudo nmap sv for banner grabbing, SO for the operating system, SC for the default nmap scripts on port 80 and its IP, which is this one, I guess. Yeah, it's the correct one. Don't need T5, it's just one port. It'll be fast enough, I guess. Come on, you're not fast enough. Hurry it up. Come on. Gotta hate nmap scans. Can I ask you to go to take a look at... Wait a second. Can I ask you to... on this channel, on the YouTube channel, to go to the grandpa video and hit like on the video, because I have 0 likes, but it's even grayed out, so I have less than 0 likes because I told some people to go fuck themselves. I mean, I told probably HackTheBox to go fuck itself because it wasn't stable and people will get offended at that. Can we normalize on my channel to be offensive? Please, what a bunch of losers. I mean, I want my viewers to be absolute chads, because that's what you are, because that's what we are. That's what we are in Italy. We're absolute fucking chads. And so that virgin attitude that people have on the internet, to be all grumpy, resentful, bitter. We are the elite of the elites. We are 1337s. Let's start acting like the elites. So it's part 80, right? And we get to this website. We click on PHP bash and we see that probably we'll find some web shell somewhere on the website. We might type the Ctrl-U combination and see if there are some folders in here, but we can make that even easier by just using a debugging tool, which this time around will not be debugger because I already covered that and I don't like it very much. I vastly prefer GoBuster, like someone else in the comments suggested very smartly, because GoBuster is fast, GoBuster is cool, and is not bugged as hell. I love GoBuster. It's my favorite. It's my go-to, always. So, let's go with GoBuster to perform the debugging. We already talked about this. I don't want to repeat what debugging is all about. So, GoBuster, dir for directory enumeration. There are many other modules that you can use with GoBuster, which is very cool. Another reason to love it. Ctrl-Shift-P. Ctrl-Shift-V doesn't work. Ctrl-Shift-V, there you go. Now -U is to define a URL, of course. -W for a word list to use. We already seen that the debuster one is the best one for HackTheBox machines, because it's the default one. It's kind of the official word list that machine creators have to use. It's written in the instructions for the machine creators. That release lower. Yeah, lowercase, medium. Yeah, that's it. Then press start. I mean, press enter. Start. We've already seen there are a couple of folders here. It says it returns status 301, which means it's a redirection, but it actually isn't. Because if you try to visit this, images, you'll see that you can actually watch this. And what I did on my Italian channel, because 30 minutes ago I had this machine on my Italian channel. I tried to see what was happening by inspecting the return headers. The headers returned by a simple request. This way. See, it says 301 moved permanently. It redirects to what? To images and then the slash. It's just the way that the server works. Actually, it's not a redirection. It just, well, yeah, it's a redirection. It redirects you to the full path. It's a server setting. See, now it says 200 OK. You know about HTTP status codes, don't you? Of course you know them. You certainly know the 404. What it is. It's not found, right? What about the 500s? What are those? Have you ever seen it? Write it in the comments. So cringe. That's so 2010 YouTube, isn't it? So let's take a look at the other ones here. Images, uploads. I mean, images are not interesting. There's nothing here. Press Ctrl U and you'll see that it's just a blank HTML page. Now we might try to perform another debusting thing here to see if there are, you know, files with certain extensions, but let's see what's happening at a higher level first. Then we have PHP. It's just a PHP file. Now you will not be able to read the contents because it'll be interpreted by the server. See, it's blank. There's code behind, but you cannot see it because it's being interpreted by the web server, of course. Then CSS, we're not interested. We're not interested in CSS because anyway, it's publicly readable because it's cascading style sheets. It's, you know, an HTML thing. It's, you know, the web page, the front end of the website. The same goes for JS, fonts, we don't care. But dev seems to be interesting. And it is. See here? That's a web shell. We can already see if we can pull up all of the users that are available on the system and you see that it works. So what can we do here? We just, you know, we get a reverse shell to the website and we get in. I think we can stop this with Ctrl C, then we listen with NC and LVP, and then there's a vast list of reverse shells on this website, which is called revshells.com. You'll find many of these here. Many of the existing, the well and the lesser known reverse shells here. So if it doesn't work the first time with the first thing that you try, you can try all of these other ones. So we're all listening on port 4444, right? So we can try with netcat. which is always the easiest way to go about it. With the -e option, which stands for execute, and then bin bash. But it doesn't work because this version of netcat, which is the BSD version, doesn't have the E option, but there's a trick. In many Linux distributions, you will find BusyBox, which is an embedded version of, which is a collection of binary files or programs that are usually bundled for embedded versions of Linux distros. Like, for example, if you ever rooted your Android phone, many of the programs that you use will be from a terminal, will be bundled in this BusyBox suite of software. And it just so happens that, yeah, that's the correct translation. It just so happens that the BusyBox version of netcat has the E option implemented. Now, the only thing that, the last thing that we need to check is if BusyBox has been actually being bundled with this specific Linux distro. And it has, so it's gonna work. So whatever we typed in before, we just add, we pre-panned BusyBox before it. And there you go. We got our reverse shell. As an exercise, try out all of these other ones and see which ones work. I think it's the way that I went about it. Oh, they also added BusyBox here. I don't think this was here years ago. Years ago, I used to use Pentest Monkey. It was a website that had lots of reverse shells, a reference of reverse shells. So we got our reverse shell. Now let's make it a little bit more stable with Python. What was it? Yeah, Python -c import pty spawn. The Linux, the which command identifies the path, locates the path for binaries. It just does that. Spawn bin bash. There you go, a stabler shell. Now, the first thing, as soon as you get in, it's sudo -l. What can this user execute? What can this user do? And it looks like that as the script manager user, if you execute sudo with the script manager user, you can execute commands without having to insert the script manager user password. So just do sudo -u script manager, and we just execute another shell within this context. So sudo -u script manager bin bash. If you rtfm, if you read the fine manual for sudo and you look for -user or -u, it says that it runs the command as a user other than the default target user, which would usually be root. If you do sudo su, it will run su as root. Su stands for substitute user. Use which the current user in the shell. Very simple. If you know Linux. And now we're script manager, of course. Now, let's talk about cool Linux commands. One of the coolest Linux commands, which is also very powerful, which also looks very simple but really isn't, is the find command. Now we can find files by user with one command, file by user, by permission. We can find it by creation date. We can also find files between certain dates and time of the day. It's very, very powerful. But what we'll be needing here is very simple. We just need to find within the entire system. So find slash, which is the Linux root for the file system. All files that belong to a script manager. Well, now it says group, but every file, every file usually belongs to both the user and the group. My god, I really need to play Mass Effect for 70 hours. I fucking hate it that I'm not as fast as I am in Italian. I gotta solve this shit. So let me think for 2 seconds. It'll find all of the files that belong to script manager. Then 2 greater than dev null. Dev null is also called the black hole of the Linux systems. Basically, it's gonna say all of the errors, redirect them to nothing. Just don't print them out on the terminal. And now there's a problem here because we have all of these files that start with proc. Proc means process. These are just processes, system processes used by that belong to the script manager user. Now we can also remove all of these results by using grep. Grep will return all of the matched words that we give it. Now it's also possible to use an inverse match. It really doesn't matter because we already found what we were interested in, which is test.py, but let's do it anyways. Now, shells like this, even if they're stable, they're not gonna work too well. So we will not have the history available, so it won't work. We'll have to type it in again. It was find slash group script manager 2 greater than dev null and then grep proc. Now you can either use inverse match or you can use -v, which isn't very clear because in any Linux command, in any Linux command line program, you always use -v to make the results of the program more verbose. So I'd rather go with this. It was invert match, not inverse. And so we got exactly what we wanted. So let's access that folder and you'll see that we have 2 files here. We have read and write permissions on script manager. See what I was saying earlier. When a file belongs to the script manager user or any other user for that matter, it will also belong to a group with the same name. Fucking nailed it this time. Yeah, my English is improving by the fucking second. Am I not great? Please write in the comments that I'm great. I need my narcissistic fix. Please do provide it. So, what was I saying? Okay, we can read and write both of them, but not execute them. So, cat test.txt, and it just says testing 1, 2, 3, exclamation mark. If we see the contents of test.py instead, we see that we have some, Python commands where a file is being opened, which is called test.txt for writing, and that the string is being inserted into it, and then the file is being closed, as is tradition with Python files when you deal with writing the file. Now, the file will be written to test.txt periodically, because if you see the date of the last modification of the file, the time it was last modified, and you see the current time, it'll see that only 2 minutes have elapsed. Let's do it again. 22:48, 22:49. So the test.py file will be writing the test.txt file every minute, right? And since the test.txt file belongs to root, it might not be too far-fetched to deduct that the test.py file is being executed by a cron job that is executed in turn by the root user, right? So now we'll just modify the file contents in order to get a shell with higher privileges. How do we do that? Well, there are many ways to do that, but you cannot just tell it, in the Python file OS system bin bash, like we've seen in the cap video. Watch that if you haven't yet, because it will be executed in another context, which will not be our current shell. So we'll have to launch another reverse shell. So let's just listen on another port, which is 5555. The 4444, even if it's occupied, even if it's busy, could work too, but maybe. Let's echo into the test.py file import OS, just in case it's not available by default, by appending it to the end of the file using the double redirection operator. Now see, it's been appended. And then also echo within the same file, the same reverse shell that we used to get in initially via the web shell, the initial web shell. So OS system BusyBox NC 10 1579 on port 5555, like we've just defined here. Then there she bin bash, we close the single quote, we close the double quote, and we append all of this to test.py. And if we didn't make any mistakes, which is the reason why I just stopped to read, the shell should be launched with root privileges. Gotta hate when people message me. Gotta hate it. I mean, why message me when you can call me so that I will ignore your call, right? Am I right? We'll get a shell in a minute with root privileges, right? Cat test.py. Okay, we wrote it to file, and now we wait. If it's correct, it'll work. But because it's me, it's gonna. I scare computers. I'm joking. It's the sex appeal. And we got a connection as the root user. Let's get stapler shell, just like always. We're root, and there's also your root flag. That was it. This was another very easy box from Hack the Box, I would like to invite you over to follow me on Twitch, because I'll be playing the entire Mass Effect trilogy throughout the months of January and February. But we always talk about IT, computer science, penetration testing, information security, women, building muscle, because I go to the gym. I've been training for quite a while. We talk all things manly on the Twitch channel. I mean, I'm practicing my English a lot because I want to be as fast and fluent as possible, because I'm also starting other channels. Another one is Adrian Marksman, where I teach people music production and also talk about music. It's sort of like a radio where I present new music to people, but I also produce my own music and also teach people how to produce music, and it's completely free. I mean, it's on Twitch, right? I'm also doing this with cybersecurity. We're doing penetration testing on Prime Red Empire. Here, I will start learning the Blender modeling software and the Unreal Engine. I already know C++, of course, because I've been studying software development for, I don't know, more than 15 years at this point. So C++ is the easiest thing for me. The Unreal Engine is not easy, because the hardest thing about the Unreal Engine is understanding, knowing where all of the things are in the goddamn software, right? And so I will also be teaching how to develop video games, indie video games in the future, but I'm also a digital entrepreneur, so we'll also talk about business models, internet marketing, sales. I am, if you don't know at this point, I'm a polymath. So just hop in on Twitch, on Prime Red Empire, or on Adrian Marksman, wherever I'm live, and let's talk about everything, right? I mean, it's kind of niche what I'm doing here, but it's temporary. For you people that are really interested in penetration testing, we'll be doing this mainly on Prime Radiant Security Global. So let me know what you think, and because you will be the ones that shape the direction of this and all of my channels. I'm always open to suggestions, recommendations, and how to go about and do cool shit together. So thanks for watching. Gonna go smoke this soon, but I don't do that on screen because I'll get demonetized. I've gotten demonetized many times before. And I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.